Alrighty. Okay, we're recording. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We are learning about de-escalation techniques with Crystal Walker. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a minute to pray, and then we'll learn more about de-escalation. Heavenly Father, we come before Thee to thank you, God, for this opportunity to learn, to thank you for the opportunity to be safe, and we thank you for keeping us safe, God. And we ask that you help us to understand the material and give us comprehension, Lord. We thank you and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, go ahead, Crystal.
Hi, everybody. Had to unmute myself. So first of all, I'm going to tell you right now, my camera is above my computer, but I see you all on this side. So if I'm looking this way, I'm looking at your faces. I'm Corporal Crystal Walker. I worked at the Asner Police Department for over 20 years. I've done this many, many times. So it shouldn't be a big deal. It's mainly about information, about prevention. But if you have any questions because of the short amount of time we have, do me a favor and just hold them to the end, just write them down and we'll address that because I want to get through the slides really quick and then we'll get to the end. And don't let me forget to talk a little bit about the homeless population. That seems to be one of the biggest topics that we have going on right now. So my contact information is here on this first slide, so you can take a picture of it or write it down, whichever. But you can call me, and you know what? I forgot to change the phone number on there. I apologize. I'll give it to you right now. It's 805-288-8456. That's my old desk line, but the email has not changed. So go ahead and you can email me at any time if that's preferable. So if you could go to the first slide, please. All right, so this was mainly for businesses that were like retail, like mom and pop shops, or maybe like a laundromat type of thing where there's cash available. But it's not just that. If people think that your business has cash or you deal in cash, you could be a target. Not all the time, but it's a possibility. It has happened. So I left this slide in here so you understand. So let's say that you have maybe a business on the outside, or your family member has a business on the outside of this. You can talk to them about this type of stuff. But the criminals tend to look for places they can go where they're going to get a big bang for their buck, and no pun intended on that one. But if it's the easiest, quickest route that they can get in and get out and get what they want, they will do so. So it's not, and again, like I said, it's mainly targeted to businesses, but if you think about it in your own personal lives, like you leave your car door unlocked and, oh, I'm just going into the store for a second, and you leave your purse underneath the seat, or you leave something out. What are they going to do? It's unlocked. It's right there. Either they're going to take the property, because everybody knows under the seat, the visor, in the center console, everybody knows that's where you put your stuff real quick. Or they'll just take your car if you leave it on. So always think about those things, because I'm sure you've heard of Murphy's Law. Like, the worst thing that could possibly happen is probably going to happen. So be the devil's advocate sometimes and think about it. What if I was a criminal? What would I do? Hide those things, put stuff away. Don't sorry about that. Don't make it easy for them. Okay, they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be heard, and they don't want to be recognized. So think of those three things. Next slide, please. So again, criminals, they want the easiest way. So people who are inattentive, or they say asleep at the switch. How many of you do this a lot? And you're walking, or you're talking, and you're going around the store or wherever. If you're staring at your phone, it's going to be very hard to recognize somebody if they commit a type of crime. So these are the type of people that a criminal may prey on, because they know that when the police come up and they say, okay, what do they look like? I don't know, because you were busy paying attention. I'm not saying, if your kid calls you or your mom calls you, answer the phone if your mom calls you. But I'm not saying that, you don't pay attention to your phone. I'm saying don't stay stuck to the phone. be cognizant, look left to right. Don't be paranoid, be aware, because a lot of times these things happen when people are not aware. Keep your head up. Speaking of businesses and houses, if it looks like the outside of a business or outside of a house is not taken care of, what is that criminal going to think? No one cares. Okay, so they will be a target, because if you have a place that's immaculate, that's the bushes are well kept, the grass is cut and everything, obviously somebody cares, somebody pays attention, and you're going to probably call the police. You see the buildings with the broken windows, with the grass that's nobody cares. So they're going to probably target something like that sooner than they would a place where it looks like people are taking care of it. Also, try your best to make the area look lived in. Put timers on your lights, or make sure that the lights are on in your business afterwards, when everybody leaves, so that people can see inside. Now, for us, because we're very busy, a lot of times when we patrol a certain area, we're looking through the windows. And if we can see in and the business is obviously closed, but we can see in and nobody's in there, then cool, we're going to keep going. But if you have a bunch of stuff covering the windows and it's all blacked out and everything, and there's people in there, how are we going to be able to tell? We can't, especially if like an alarm's going off and we have to respond to the area. It's very hard for us. So if you could do that, even some little backlighting, motion sensor lighting on the outside of the buildings, oh, that's amazing. Because it freaks people out. And I'm not just talking about regular people, I'm talking about the criminals as well. So next slide, please. So, and this is, again, not just for businesses, even though it was geared to businesses, surviving a robbery. So if somebody comes up to you and they're trying to take your property, first and foremost, nothing is worth your life. Okay. Everything is replaceable other than your life. So if they start asking you for your money, cell phone, whatever it is, just give it to them. Okay. You don't want to. No, they didn't pay for it. No, they're not entitled to it. But you know what? Let it go. Nothing is worth your life. Try to avoid eye contact, because again, like I was saying, they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be heard. They want to be recognized. If you avoid the eye contact, they're probably going to think, they didn't see me. I'm not going to worry too much about whether or not they can recognize me. Also, arguing, begging, and pleading, it could probably aggravate them, even because if you have somebody who's desperate enough to come and commit a robbery, whether it's out on the street, whether it's in a business, they're very desperate, and you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they have. You don't know what their intentions are. So, don't do any of that. Don't try to reason with them, because they're probably beyond reason at that particular point. Just give them what they want and be done with it. And then the last one, lock the door after the criminal leaves to prevent their return. When they hear our sirens coming, they're going to probably want to run back inside. So if you lock that door real quick, they can't come back inside. Is it a have to? No, but it's something to think about when hopefully this never happens, but if it does, something to think about. And don't follow or chase the criminal. We don't need any heroes. Okay. You guys are not trained. You don't have the equipment we do, none of the training that we go through. And frankly, it's not for you to do. Again, everything is replaceable. You are not. We get paid to do it. We are trained to do it. We have the tools to do it. Let us find that person and go and get them. Okay. Next slide, please. So angry customers, we always get this. It's for us, it's more often than not, because a lot of times when they're calling us, it's the worst time of their lives. Okay. And I get it. And I understand why people can be upset. Other businesses, it's a little bit different. A lot of times they want a service, and maybe it wasn't provided to the best of the ability or to what their expectation was. And you're going to have somebody who's upset, or somebody who just didn't get their coffee in the morning. I mean, there's any excuse for being upset. So LEAP is an acronym that I want to say it was the state, a state group that came up with it when they did the workplace violence training. And it gives you a good idea as to what you should think about when you have somebody who is upset about whatever it is. So listening. I can tell you right now, as a police officer in my 20 years, just listening. Sometimes people just want to vent. They just want to just say everything they have to say, and once they're out of gas, then they're cool. Hey, what is it exactly you need me to do for you today? No, nothing. I just wanted you to hear me out.
Tim,
All
what
right.
brings you this way, though?
So, did somebody have a question, or was that an accident?
Joker will be there tomorrow morning.
I can't tell. I'll just keep going. So empathy. We've all been there. We've all been there, you know, when we've had a bad day, everything's not going well. I can tell you the other day I went to Target and I got these glasses and I had the frames already and I just wanted them to do the transitions and progressive. I need to get bifocal. I'm not as young as I used to be, but so I put them on and I was all happy and I walked outside of Target and only one lens started to turn dark. And I'm like, wait a minute, both lenses are supposed to be dark. So I have one dark lens and one clear lens. And I'm like, oh, I look like an idiot. So I started to get upset, but I was like, you know what, things happen. I'm gonna go talk to them. Other people might not think that way. So knowing that I've been in that situation before, if somebody comes to complain to me about the same type of thing, I'm like, I got you. I know where you're at. Totally get why you're upset. What can we do to fix it? Okay. So just try to show that because a lot of times that's what they want. They want somebody to agree with them, somebody to empathize and to feel their pain. Okay. Next slide, please. So alternatives, you know, instead of, hey, I know you wanted that blouse in that particular color, but you know, how about this color? It actually is going to look much better on you in this color. And you know what? I'll tell you what, I can even give you like 5% off. Just offering alternatives to whatever it is that they're upset about. And meeting in the middle. That's one of the main things, meeting in the middle. Sometimes it's not going to happen, but if you're able to try, by all means do so. Person to person, this is a big one. When you have somebody who's really upset, if you take them to the side, instead of having them air everything out in front of everybody else, and you know everybody's watching, sometimes that agitates them even more. So you know what? We don't need all these people in our Kool-Aid. Let's come over here. Let's talk over here. And then you know what? You can tell me everything you got to tell me, but you know, come over here. So you know, you guys, it's just you. It's just you. And they tell again, and you listen. They tell you what their issue is, and you guys try to solve it like adults. And it goes a long way. It shows respect, and it shows that you're willing to listen to whatever it is they have to say, and you're taking this seriously. Another couple things, I was actually a hostage negotiator for, I want to say it was 5-6 years. And there's active listening. Active listening is really paying attention to what they're telling you, but not just paying attention, actually at times paraphrasing what they're telling you, at times using what they call minimal encouragers, which are, oh, okay. Just so that they know that you're still with them and that you are, you're in the conversation. Sometimes mirroring, it has a little bit to do with empathy. Just, hey, you know, just giving them the same feeling back that, hey, I'm right here with you. Okay. And we could go on with that for a long time, but it's just, I guess the main thing is treat them how you would want to be treated. And most of the time that brings them down. So go ahead with the next slide. This is a big one. So I tell companies a lot of times, and actually even individuals, if your mind has been in a certain situation, whether or not you were really there, it's easier if you find yourself in that situation in real time. So let's say a robbery. If you imagine it in your head that there's a robbery and obviously somebody's robbing you and you think, okay, I'll do this or I'll do that or I'll do the other. And you just think of all these different contingency plans in your head. What am I going to do if this happens? If God forbid it does, you're not going to be as nervous because, like I said, your mind has been there. repetition, and muscle memory. There were studies that had people actually doing something like shooting just baskets. And someone was actually doing it, physically doing it. Somebody sat there and imagined themselves making those baskets, making those baskets, making those baskets. And the other person, nothing. So after a certain amount of time, they brought everybody together and they had them, shoot baskets for real. And yes, the person who did it physically did better than they had before, but the person who was just thinking about it also did too, because their mind had been there and it's practicing mentally. And I'll prove it to you. Think about you're leaving work or you're going to work. And when you get to your destination, all of a sudden you're like, how did I get here? I don't remember driving. It's muscle memory. It's because you have done it so many times that you got there. You did everything right. I'm not saying you were busting lights and all that type of thing, but you've done it so often, you did it again, but without consciously really thinking about it. Okay. So when, as you see the role play and scenario training, if you have time, if you have like monthly trainings like this, you've got a few minutes, you can round table it, but actually doing it helps. Have your manager throw out a scenario and you'll be like, okay, this is what we'll do. Oh no, here's a better idea. Oh no, here's another idea. And just think of different things. And there's no perfect scenario that you're going to come up with. Because life is life. It's fluid and people are people. They're going to do what they do. But again, if you think about it, what am I going to do? What is expected of us? Certain things, hey, you're going to do this. You're going to call the police. You're going to lock the door. Everybody has jobs. It makes it a lot smoother if, like I said, God forbid, it does happen. At least the things that need to occur and how you may formulate that plan to get it done. Okay, and be safe. And the next slide. So here are some of the main points again. So I know it says robbery, but it's any violent event, including, I know you heard the term active shooter, but it's kind of changed a little bit. We call it active assailant because just because they're out there and they're hurting people doesn't mean that they're using a gun. They could be using a knife. They could be using a bat. They could be using anything. It's still violent. It's still people getting hurt. So, and I want to bring that up and again, make you paranoid, but you need to be aware these things do happen. More than we'd like nowadays, but the odds of it happening to you are not as much, and especially they're survivable. Know that they're survivable. So if why would we have the friendly greeting to everybody coming in? We were talking about it. Don't want to be seen, don't want to be heard, don't want to be recognized. So if you acknowledge them, they know you've already seen them. They know that you know what they look like. So that could potentially stop them from doing whatever dirty business they were thinking of doing. Be in charge. I don't care how timid you are. I don't care what your personality is. Pretend you're in charge, because a lot of times when you see somebody and you're like, okay, that person right there, they act like they know what they're doing. They're probably in charge somehow. Not going to mess with them. It doesn't matter if you're just a bowl of jello on the inside. As long as they believe you're in charge and you're going to take care of business, doesn't matter what the truth really is, because a lot of times people are not going to try to take advantage of someone who's like that, because they know that either the person may fight back, they may call the police, they may be a harder target than they expected. And that's what you need to do, be a hard target. One thing I have to keep reminding my daughter, who's 10 years old, and anytime she gets any money, she likes to count it out in public. Please don't do that. Please don't show any of, that checks or anything like that. If you're going to do that, do it discreetly, because again, that's what they want. And just because you have checks doesn't mean they're not going to want that. They can wash those checks and use them to whatever dirty business they're going to do. So just be cognizant. Call for help as soon as you need it, because sometimes it takes us a minute to get to where we are. And it also takes a couple of minutes for the dispatcher to take the call. So you call in, the dispatcher's taking the information. they have to relay it to us. Then we have to start going from wherever we are. It just takes that much longer. And then it's on top of how long you waited before you call. Don't wait. Just call immediately. If for whatever reason we get there and the problem's finished, well, then that's fine. You can cancel us at any time. It's not a big deal. You're not in trouble. You're not going to get charged extra. We talked about professional appearance. And then opening and closing, because that's when the least amount of people are around. Just be cognizant that if there are weird cars in the parking lot and stuff and you're unsure, you can always call us. We can come by. We can take a look. That's not a problem. Okay. Please, next slide. During, always cooperate. Like I said before, don't be the hero. Don't be chasing. Don't be following. Don't try to, fight with them or anything. Just do what they say. Give them what they want. Your life is not worth however much money is in that register or whatever property they're taking. A lot of times they're going to take phones or they're going to take AirPods and stuff like that. Just give it. Just give it. I can't say that enough times. Just give it. It's not worth your life. Yeah, if you have an alarm button, by all means, push that. But if it's going to get you noticed, I don't suggest you do that. Any of those sudden moves or things like that, I don't suggest you do it. Just let it happen. As soon as it's over, lock the door, give us a call. Next slide, please. We already talked about locking the door. Call us before you call your manager, before you call anybody else, your comadre, your mother, post it on Insta. Yeah, call the police department first, and then you can do whatever you want. Call whoever you want. And as soon as we get there, please let us know. We need to get that information from you. Any witnesses there are, any actual like straight victims, the ones that the suspect interacted with, we need to talk to them first. And don't touch anything that the criminal touched, because there's evidence left behind, whether it's DNA or fingerprints. Just make sure cordon that off and tell people don't touch this. And if it takes us a minute to get there, because depending, if you're at the dead end of Perkins or if you're all the way up in the north end, it's going to be a little bit harder for us to get to you, because each person has their assigned beat, but we try to tend to stay a lot central or more central because the police department's there. It might take us a minute. Write down the stuff that you remember. Okay. And go ahead, next one. And you don't have to go back, but just so you know, that last one, it said cooperate with the police. Some people are hesitant to talk to us because they're like, I got to talk to my manager first. You're not going to get in trouble by talking to us if you tell us what happened. We need to know, and it goes directly to this slide. We need to know what happened, where it happened, who it happened to, what the suspect description is, because how else are we able to solve this? And we've had a problem before where some people are like, I can't talk to you without my manager. Well, we need the information. You want us to get the bad guy, right? Give us the information. So if there's something in place like that, please make sure that you review whatever policy that is, because this information that I have listed here is all information that we're going to be asking you, and dispatch will be asking you, so that we get there as safely as possible, and hopefully we catch the bad guy. Next slide, please. I think that's one of the last. This one, you guys can print it out if you want to, and you can put it next to the phone or at your desk, and it just helps you. So if for whatever reason there's somebody, a criminal that you come in contact with, you can start writing all this information down, and it's just so much easier when you know what we're going to ask you. Because a lot of times you're like, well, what information do you need? Here it is. You have it. Just like the slide previously, that information is what we're going to ask you. So again, read it. Your mind has been there. You know what we're going to ask you. So I hope it never happens to you, but if something happens that you need to call us, you have the information already ready. And this is just the priorities. Basically, priority 1+, this one is like somebody's getting hurt, somebody is hurt, shootings, stabbings, officer in trouble. We're going to get their lights and siren. Everybody's going to come. And then it goes down from there. If you give us a call, there's an abandoned car in your lot, we're probably not going to get there as fast as if somebody's hurt. So that's just for your guys' knowledge right there. And that should be it. So about the homeless issue, we're having a lot more homeless in the city. If you have them, they start to make up their little tents and stuff, their little encampments close to your building, you can always give us a call, not 911, unless, you know, they're actively coming at you and you're in fear. But if you have them like in the bushes close by or around the back of your building, or they're living in a car in front, give us a call. We'll come out. It might take a minute, but we'll get over there. If for whatever reason you have somebody who's acting erratically in the parking lot, lock the door, give us a call. But make sure you tell us what you're seeing, what's happening. Because if you just say, oh, there's a guy out in the parking lot, we're going to be like, okay. But if you say, oh, he's acting erratically, he has some type of weapon, don't lie, tell us the truth. But yeah, we've had some people do that to up the priority. But just so you know, when you do that, we want to get there safely. And if you say that there's somebody threatening with a knife, we're probably going to come lights and siren. Okay. And we don't want anybody to get in trouble. But if, God forbid, one of us gets in an accident, it's very possible for the person that we get in an accident with to pull the call and hear what it was. And if it's not entirely truthful, they can sue. And I'm only telling you that right now so that you're cognizant of giving us the proper information. I'm not saying you guys would make anything up, but it has happened. And we don't want anybody to get hurt, least of all yourselves. So just tell us what you see. Tell us what you know is happening, and we'll get there as quickly as possible, and we'll help you as best we can. So I know that was fast, but my contact information is there. You guys can call me anytime. You can email me anytime with any questions that you have. And I know we only have a little bit of time left, but if there are any questions, I'm here for those. Okay, I see somebody in the chat, maybe. Oh, just updating the phone number. Oh.
We don't have any questions, anything that we want clarification on or more information.
I think this was great. Thank you so much. These are, what are the reminders or first times for some of us, like, oh yeah, I shouldn't do many things that I was doing.
Yeah, and it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that most people, 90% of people are good. We want to go to work. We want to go home. We want to be with our families and stuff. But there's that, you know, and 10% might be a little bit much, but it's easier to just put it in that perspective.
Yeah.
Those are the people that want to do the dirty business. And we have to watch out for that and not let them take advantage of us.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Not a problem.
Thank you, Crystal.
Sure, not a problem. Just let me know if you need me to do this again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. See you later. Bye-bye.